Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to draft an off-shoulder dart. So let's start. The first thing you're going to do is to determine how low you want your dress to be, like how much cleavage you want to show. So you can start with whatever number you want, depending on what you want. So for me, I want to use 4, but you can go as deep as 5, 6, depending on what you want. But for me, I want to use 4 inch. So you determine the depth of your dress, then you start from there. So in case you want to use 6, you shift your tape to 6 like this. So this place is totally off. So but for me, I want to use 4, so I'm going to place my 4 inches here, and from here I'll take my measurements down. So I'll start with my armhole. My armhole is 13 into 2. Then my breast point is 10. My underbust is 13. And my waistline is 17. Plus half inch for joining to the dive pattern. I'll rule my line. So I'll finish connecting the lines. The next thing to do is to measure half my nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 3.5, but because I'll be joining this back to this other part, I will now use 4 inch. So I'm going to mark 4 inches all the way down. Then coming to what you have to do is whatever number you have here, you add 1 inch to 5 inches. I'll connect the lines. As you can see, I've finished connecting the lines. So the next thing to do is to mark out your dart, but before then, on this breast point line, you have to go upwards by 1 inch and come downwards by 1 inch to eliminate friction and pointiness on the breast area. So I will be taking 1 inch up and 1 inch down. So depending on what number of darts you want to use, for me I'll be using 1 inch on both sides because I want the breast area to protrude very well. So I'll take 1 inch here and 1 inch here, and I'll repeat the same thing on my underbust. So I took 1 inch on both sides on the waist and same thing on the underbust. I'll connect the dart. So you join it to that 1 inch you came down from. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to join it to this 1 inch point here. That's the 1 inch you came down from. So we already formed our dart. The next thing to do is on this area, you take 1 inch on both sides, 1 inch dart on both sides. You mark out your 1 inch here and mark out your 1 inch here. Then you connect it to this 1 inch. Remember we came up 1 inch to this place. So all you have to do now is to connect this 1 inch to this place. This is the 1 inch we came up from the breast point. So you take this one down, and this has formed our dart. So the next thing to do is to place our body measurements. So here it will determine the neck width that you're working with. For me, I want to use 4 inches. I'm going to be using 4 inches, and this is where 4 inches ends. Then remember we took 1 inch on both sides, making it 2 inches. We are going to be replacing that. So from this 4 inch, so that will make it 6 inches. that will make it 6 inches. Then remember, you'll be adding this, like you'll be joining this back to this one. If you cut this out, you have to join it back. You add ½ inch for sewing allowance, then that will give you 6.5, or let me just make it 7 so that it won't be too covered. So there is your 7 inches. So you take your bust measurements, you measure the dart you have here. I have about, okay, you measure the dart you have here, whatever dart you have there, you replace it, and then you now determine the sewing allowance you want to work with. For me, I'll be using 1.5 inch sewing allowance, and I'll mark it there. So my underbust is 27, that is 6.75, 6.25. You mark it there. You add your dart. We took 2 inches for that. You place it back, and then your 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. Then my waist measurement is 26 plus 2 inches sewing allowance and 1.5 inches for my darts. So 1.5 inches for my joining allowance, 2 inches for that, then 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. Then you can connect all that lines together. So remember, this is the measurement that is left for us from the neckline. So all you have to do is to just cut this to this. From here, this is the measurement we have. After we have taken our neck width, then added that we took off and our sewing allowance, we are left with this. So now you're going to join it to your armhole, and now this has automatically formed your armhole line. So what is left is to cut out the dart. So you're going to cut out our pattern. You're going to cut that out now. So guys, this is the finished look, and I hope this tutorial was helpful. Please go ahead and click on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and like and comment on my videos, and I'll see you guys on my next tutorial. Please, until then, you stay safe. Bye.